You're 40 years old. If you're not trying to win a title, then it's about that time you need to go ahead and hang it up. Now you bringing Bronny over here. Y'all having a goddamn family reunion in this. Don't nobody care about this. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all do me a favor and drop a like on the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. You already know who it is. It's your boy, Reggie. So, the Los Angeles Lakers, man, they are off to a pretty good start with a record of 7-2. But if you ask me, folks, this is a little bit of fool's gold. Now, if you look at the Lakers' record so far, right? They are second place in the Western Conference, I believe, behind OKC, but they've played 9 games so far, and the best team that they've beaten, ladies and gentlemen, is the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I don't know of anybody who came into the season and had the San Antonio Spurs as a title contender. But once again, folks, they've played Portland twice so far this season. They've played Minnesota one time without Anthony Edwards. They've played the Miami Heat. They're not really playing very many good teams, folks, so far to start the season. So it's kind of hard for me to sit and look at this Lakers team and be like, okay, they got something here, right? They haven't really played anybody, but it is what it is. You can only play who's in front of you. So to their credit, to JJ Redick's credit, you know, they've been winning games. Now, we all know LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen, he is out dealing with sciatica. Now, me personally, I don't think LeBron James is that hurt to where he couldn't have played to start the season. What I believe he did was he tried to sabotage the Los Angeles Lakers. And apparently, ladies and gentlemen, his plan is failing. Okay, so I came across a clip from Jason Whitlock, and he had 2 guys on the show. And one of the guys he had on the show, he doesn't believe that LeBron James is ever going to play for the Lakers ever again.
I personally believe, I said this the last time I was with you, I am not certain that LeBron will ever return to the Los Angeles Lakers and wear their jersey. I still hold to that. He is not making the trip with them on this 5-game upcoming road trip, and I think they are working behind the scenes to get him out. I really and truly believe that. I'll go down in flames if I'm wrong. I do not see any way that he benefits. First of all, if you inject him and his toxicity and everything that comes with him into this 7-2 start, and they're humming right now, there is not a positive outcome to this. One, he's not going to take a backseat to any player, white, black, or indifferent. You cannot be one way for 23 years in the NBA or your whole life and then suddenly change that overnight. He's not going to be this guy that becomes humbled and say, all right, I have 4 rings. Let me get 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, no pun intended. I don't think he's going to sit there. And if he comes back, they worsen overnight. JJ Redick said it 2-3 weeks ago when they asked him the question. They said, what's going on with LeBron? And he said, his response in a total monotone face was, he's on his own schedule. There is no sciatica injury. This was all his plan to sit back and monitor the team and everything. And I think he wanted to be ingratiated back because they would fail, and then he would come be the savior. The complete opposite has happened. What I think is going to happen, I believe there's only one team that's interested in taking him back, and I think that's Dan Gilbert. And I think it's a good story that the league will follow, and I honestly believe that Cleveland may need him more than the Lakers do. Where does an insecure person run for a hug? And the only place or people or persons is where his family and friends are, and in Cleveland, where he's been twice. That is a place, and I believe the only place, it's not the Knicks. That's a place where he would feel comfortable on the surface and somebody that might embrace him. I don't think this comes down to money. I don't think the Lakers want anything in return. I think they want it to go away. Personally, without him or with him, they're not winning the title this year, in my opinion. They have a much greater chance, though, to compete and be legitimate and take the next steps in growth and build. You know, he's a distraction. If you put him in, they're less effective. If either way, they don't win. If he wants a chance to win, that would mean that he needs to sit back and take the 18, 20 minutes, as you said, and be a here and there type of player, which would be very embarrassing. And I don't think he can handle that. So go to Cleveland. They will inject him because he's the Cleveland guy and he brought them the championship. He doesn't need the money. I don't think he wants the money. He's going to take what he can get. But Mark Walter is a very smart man, and Mark Walter understands the risk by keeping him around, whether he sits on the bench and makes a fool of himself like he is now, or he comes back.
So you guys just heard what old dude had to say on Jason Whitlock's show. Said some things that I don't agree with, said some things that I do agree with. Some of the things that I do agree with is that, this situation in Los Angeles has run its course. I've been saying this. I'm going to continue to say it. LeBron James should have pulled a Kevin Durant and requested a trade and got up out of here. Because like the dude said, you're not winning with LeBron. You're not winning without LeBron. So what are you doing? You're 40 years old. If you're not trying to win a title, then it's about that time you need to go ahead and hang it up. Now you bringing Bronny over here. Y'all having a goddamn family reunion in this bitch. Don't nobody care about this shit. Right? We don't care about Bronny's career arc. We don't care about Bronny's story. We don't care about any of this. If you're not trying to win, then you need to retire, gang. At this point, I thought the only reason you were still playing was to win. You're not winning with the Lakers. It's not happening. Another thing that I agree with is when he says that Cleveland might be the only team that's going to actually fully embrace him. I agree with that. I think LeBron James bouncing around throughout the course of his career and now finally coming and landing in Los Angeles, yeah, it's very obvious, folks. The Lakers don't embrace him. They probably never did. And you continue to stay here knowing that they don't really like you like that, right? You're a threat to them, They like Luka, right? Why? Luka's white. Luka's not a threat to Kobe's legacy. He's not a threat to anybody's legacy. So, yeah, they're going to celebrate Luka. They're going to cheer for Luka. They're going to root him on. You, not so much. So, in my opinion, LeBron James does need to go. He needs to go. Now, do I think, it's going to happen? I don't know, man. He seems to have this, fake loyalty to where it's oh, I'm not going to, request a trade. I guess he doesn't want to pull a Kevin Durant and request trades and do all that stuff. So maybe he wants to play out his contract and then leave. I don't know. But to me, like I said, folks, this whole situation, man, it's just been a complete waste of time the last few years. And I think LeBron James needs to make up his mind on what he wants to do, because it's obvious, this whole plan of sitting out, it blew up in his face, folks. It blew up in his face. The Lakers are winning games. To me, like I said, it is a little bit of fool's gold when you look at the record, but 7-2 is 7-2. It is what it is. So it's clear, like I said, LeBron James is no longer needed in Los Angeles. So it is what it is, folks. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this particular topic. Did LeBron James's plan to sabotage the Lakers blow up in his face? Y'all let me know, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. This was another installment of The Locker Room. Peace.